The Flying Nun was an instant success, and ratings stayed good all through the first season. Our show people knew they had a winning formula on their hands, so the second season started pretty much where the first one left off.
Distance lends enchantment, and from a distance, the convent Santanco was without a blemish. But up close, it was like trying to hide the wrinkles of old age with talcum powder.
Which is to say, the convent is falling apart and desperately needs money. Now, before anybody goes off on a rant about the Catholic Church and all that, let me remind you of something. You're not my dad. Wait, that's not it. Oh yeah, this is a sitcom. It's not real life. If everything was hunky-dory at the convent and they could always afford the latest of everything, what kind of comedy could you make out of that? Rome deliberately held back funds from the convent so it could be funny. Wait, that's not right. This is fiction. There is no convent Santanco. I mean, who the heck is Saint Tank? Was he named that because his nose looked like a cannon? It's all made up. Don't get uptight, just enjoy the jokes. Especially mine.
And now that groovy group who will be opening this weekend at the Casino Carlos Agogo, Sonny and the Sundowners.
Oh, Sonny Howard! Sonny and the Sundowners right here in Puerto Rico.
She went to school with Sonny back when she was Elsie Ethrington. She always admired his talent and would love to talk to him again. Reverend Mother is way ahead of her.
You know what, Sister Bertrille? What? I think that you should rev up the old battery in the old station wagon right this minute and give our regards to your friend.
Carlos is in his office as usual, and today he's buried under a mountain of paperwork.
Hello, Carlos? Ramon?
Oh,
Am I interrupting something?
when are you not interrupting?
Sister Bertrille has become Carlos's annoying kid sister. He can't imagine his life without her, but he wishes she'd stop barging into his room. While he's trying to get rid of her and she's trying to explain that no, she's not there to ask someone to play a benefit or otherwise give money, Sonny comes in.
Sonny Howard!
Elsie? Elsie Ethrington? Well, how are you? Hey, what a groovy set of threads.
I'm with the Sisters of Santanco.
What a name for a group. What do you play, folk, rock, acid?
Hymns, mostly.
Oh, you're doing the gospel circuit. Well, groovy.
Sonny may be a little slow to catch on to some things. We've seen Paul Peterson before on this channel. Specifically, he was Johnny Eagle Eye on F Troop. Americans watched him grow up on the Donna Reed Show, a family sitcom that ran for 8 seasons. He developed from the gawky kid to a genuine teenage heartthrob. In 1963, he proved he was more than a pretty face and an acting talent when he hit the charts with a song called My Dad. It was the flagship of an album that didn't really do very well, and he dove back into acting, where he continues to live happily ever after.
Sonny,
What?
you are squeezing a nun.
A what?
A nun.
I think Carlos and Ramon enjoyed that. Sonny's a little blown away.
Well, she sure made a bum out of the editor of our yearbook. She was voted Miss Far Out of 1965.
Well, I have news for you. She still holds the title.
And you probably don't want to know what he means by that. Let's go meet the Sundowners. IMDb credits them as an actual band, but there's zero information about them. My guess is they were thrown together for the episode out of a bunch of local musicians who were delighted to get their 15 minutes of fame. That's what I'd do. No, I don't mean that's how I'd set up the band. I mean that's what I'd do if I were one of the musicians. Hey, look at me, I'm on TV! After some nostalgia, it's time for Sister Bertrille to go. Sonny wonders what she's doing with her musical talent, and she explains that she writes songs for the kids at the orphanage and things like that. She talks a little about how poor the convent is, and Sonny has an idea.
Why don't you write a song for me?
What?
Well, for the group. Our last album was $1 million seller, you know, and you'll get a royalty and you can give it to the convent. Now, what do you say? You write a song for us and we'll use it.
Honest?
Would I lie to a nun? I'll even give you an advance.
Well, what if you don't like it?
Well, then I deduct you as a charitable contribution.
It's a deal.
It's a great idea. And the nice thing about royalties is they keep coming. I published a book on the Dead Sea Scrolls in 2005, and I still get royalties on it. Granted, $1.50 a year isn't much, but I can say I still get it. And if the band already has a million seller under its belt, there's a good chance they'll be getting a lot more than that for some time to come. There's just one hitch.
That's gravy. Groovy. Groovy? Okay. There's groovy on your roast beef. I hope you like it. I'm not hungry. It's a sin to starve your stomach because your head is filled with music. That's just it. My head is starved, too.
The problem? She can't think of a blasted thing to write. The other sisters are doing all her chores so she can concentrate, but it's not helping. She needs some inspiration. With a little prodding from Sister Jacqueline, she knows where to find it.
The golden glint of sunlight bathes the particles of sand. And a myriad of patterns are designed.
This is how it works. You write what you know. You write what you see. It's no wonder she wasn't getting any inspiration sitting in her room staring at a stale sandwich. Before long, she has what she needs.
I hearken to the thunder of a trailing of a leaf as it heralds the awakening of love. And oh, what miracles abound out in a whole new world I found.
The song is incredible. The imagery it evokes, the perfect blending of the mellow music and the sense of wonder in her voice, it gives me chills. Let's see what the Sundowners think of it.
Boy, that really blows my mind.
Does?
Yeah.
Is that good or bad?
Well, that means you flipped me.
Oh, well, it's not your style, right?
Well, that's the easiest thing in the world to fix. We just upbeat the tempo, change a few words here and there, and it's right in our bag.
I'm afraid we all know what that means and what's coming, but Sister Bertrille is so excited about the whole thing, and especially doing something so good for the convent, she didn't really catch what he said. I guess we'll all find out what he means the following night, because he's invited all the sisters to come hear the premiere of their song.
The golden glint of sunlight bathes the particles of sand, and a myriad of patterns are designed.
Turn on!
In reverie I watch the changing colors of the waves break upon the idle seashore of my mind.
Higher than high!
Obviously, that's not what Sister Bertrille wrote. What I want to know is, we already knew Paul Peterson could sing. How hard was it for him to deliberately sound that bad? Needless to say, Reverend Mother is not pleased, and neither is anybody else. Unfortunately, as she so often does, the Reverend Mother is jumping to conclusions without getting all the facts first.
All I did was write a simple song.
A simple song about turning on, mind-blowing, grass that doesn't need mowing.
What I'm trying to tell you is, I wrote an innocent song that somehow lost something in the translation.
I once knew a guy in southern Idaho, gold miner by desire if not trade. He got his hands on a claim near our summer cabin that had always been known to make money for whoever operated it. It was called the Red Horse, and it was legendary in the area. One day my dad and I went up to the mine to visit him. We were studying the mountainside he was working on when we both stopped cold. A huge vein of gold-bearing quartz was staring us in the face, sticking right out of the rock. All he had to do was start digging there, and he's got instant profit. So my dad asked him why he wasn't doing that. He said he thought it was better to come at the vein from the side, so he had his 2 teenage sons blasting a tunnel way over here to get to the gold that was already sticking out of the ground right here. A lot of these conversations on television remind me of that. The direct answer is right there in front of them, but for some reason they think they have to come in the side door and get lost in a verbal maze. Let me help you, sister. Repeat after me. I did not write those lines. They did. That would clear this whole thing up. But of course, nobody on television can speak that directly. Carlos, Sonny, and Sonny's manager just arrived.
Here is the standard ASCAP royalty agreement with a check for $500 in advance. Use it in good health.
Sister Bertrille?
I'm sorry, Sonny. I can't accept this for something I didn't write.
Mr. Julian doesn't understand because he only flew in the day before. He hasn't heard the original. It's time he did. With a little help from the children, let's make that happen.
Out in a whole new world I found.
We almost never hear the words, "I'm sorry," out of Reverend Mother, but we all know what that smile means. Okay, I screwed up again and you were right. Maybe someday I'll learn.
You.
What did I do?
What did you do? You gilded a lily. You put a mustache on the Mona Lisa.
Maybe someday she'll learn. Sonny, I'm not so sure about.
There are some works of art you don't fool around with.
That's right, like Ave Maria, or the Battle Hymn of the Republic, or White Christmas.
Their rendition of White Christmas was kind of a running gag, but since we never actually got to hear it, I couldn't see the point of focusing on it. Mr. Julian will take the song away from Sonny and give it to his other client, the Salt Lake City Boys Choir. Unfortunately, we don't get to hear that either. So the convent has a little money in their coffers to fix things. Sister Bertrille has a hit song to her credit. Mr. Julian has a guaranteed money maker for his other client. And Sonny may accidentally have learned something. And now it's time for me to mention the most significant thing about this episode. It's a total ripoff. The Andy Griffith Show did this exact same plot a year earlier in an episode called A Singer in Town. Aunt Bee and some friends wrote a nice little song about Mayberry called My Hometown. A rock band got hold of it and did this same thing to it. This one was fronted by Jesse Peterson, who was most famous for playing Conrad Birdie in the movie Bye Bye Birdie. When his band premiered their version of the song, Aunt Bee and everybody else in town was ready to tar and feather them. In the end, the band came to understand how important it is to do justice to someone else's composition. In this instance, the manager learned that. We never really settled whether Sonny did or not. But really, if you were to take the characters and swap their locations and shows, you'd have virtually the same story. Except that Sister Bertrille's habit might need a few alterations if we're going to put it on Aunt Bee. And Carlos wouldn't have any idea what to do with a sheriff's uniform. Then picture Andy and Opie running a casino. Maybe this is a bad idea. If you enjoyed this, please click the like button to let me and YouTube know you want to see more. If you're not subscribed yet, punch me in the mask here and get signed up so you don't miss a thing, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. As he's... Then don't lose the line, okay? He developed from...